How would I describe the Davis Cup final in 3 words?
How would I describe the Davis Cup final in 3 words?
My 3 words to describe the final would be...
Andy had set out 2015, his goal for 2015 was to win the Davis Cup. And when he puts his mind to something, he rarely doesn't follow through.
Great Britain have done it in the most spectacular style. Andy Murray.
The first tie at home was against the USA, and James Ward famously won at sort of 10 p.m. on the Friday night in what has got to be one of the best sort of sporting atmospheres I've ever been a part of.
Wardy's win especially was just incredible.
James Ward played a massive part in that match.
Right from Wardy's amazing win against Isner in Glasgow.
I think the match for me that stands out is James Ward's victory over John Isner.
You could argue that the US win was maybe bigger with Wardy beating Isner in the fashion that he did, but I think after beating France at Queen's, it became a bit of a reality that, we might just go all the way.
Tie at Queen's, I think that stands out for me against France.
The France tie at Queen's was pretty amazing.
I often get asked, about the most memorable moment of the boys' careers, and there's been so many, but I think for me the one that probably edges it is the semi-final in 2015 of the Davis Cup against Australia. Of course, that doubles match was absolutely pivotal, and it went right down to the wire, and Hewitt was playing in it. He's just the most massive Davis Cup competitor, fighter, warrior.
I think Leighton Hewitt described it at the time as the best atmosphere he'd ever played in.
And we turned up and it was this massive cowship kind of thing. Oh, okay, so this is where Davis Cup final is going to be. Okay.
That's one thing that sticks out in my mind, was how noisy it was.
And then by the time we got to the final, I think there was just a really, really good atmosphere between the supporters and the team.
I just remember Kyle playing just lights out against Goffin.
Because Kyle played so well and just played 2 sets of incredible tennis.
And I'll just never forget that, that final Sunday, Andy's match against Goffin.
I know it's something that he's quite kind of precious about. Don't just assume that I'm just going to beat certain players. Don't just assume that I'm going to go out there and win every single match.
Get match points and then to hang in that rally and then finally, hit that topspin lob winner.
That lob.
And that final lob was just incredible.
I mean, that lob will go down in history. I mean, you didn't even know
that winning lob.
Just remember that lob going over.
I've seen quite a few matches now with Andy, and that's probably the best match point I think I've ever seen.
Is a picture actually funny enough? There's a bit of a story behind this. I was allowed special dispensation to place a remote camera on the umpire's chair, and this moment is the match-winning point, and all of the team have just jumped up, except actually, funnily enough, as you'll see on the picture, it's Matt Little looking like this.
And I'm basically sitting there. The whole of the rest of the bench is like jumping for joy, and I'm basically sitting there kind of looking like I've just lost my winning lottery ticket. And I think pretty much all I was feeling was just kind of relief that the whole thing was over, to be perfectly honest.
That when the team kind of piled on top of him, being anxious, because I'm very claustrophobic, and actually so is Andy and so is Jamie, and I was thinking, you're a whole pile of great big guys on top of him, get off.
I do remember Andy getting sort of piled on really, but and I know he doesn't like that as well, so he's since mentioned that.
It was elation, it was probably relief.
Your team is essentially winning the World Cup. That's the equivalent, and there was just no better feeling.
Brendan and I were sitting in the Cheesecake Factory, and I've got the phone kind of looking at the moment when young Mr. Murray won. In very typical Scottish fashion, I go on yourself. It's very Scottish, it means well done. These Americans looked over, and in a very Texas accent, the woman went, "Did you all win then?"
I remember very, very vividly being away in Austria because it was November, start of the season, and just the news like rebounding back to the UK. And then I remember just sort of being on my phone in bed catching up with the news and seeing Andy take the win for the team.
It's a bit of a blur for me. Nothing to do with the tennis, but because I gave birth to our first child a week or so before that historic win. So I hadn't had much sleep.
You know, the Barmy army that we have that follow us from Sterling and the British fans in general, we always had an amazing following.
Yeah, no, the Barmy army pretty much not just that year, but the year prior. And
fans were incredible. And it was every point, wasn't it?
You know, the hair's standing up on the back of my neck thinking about it now.
The loudest and craziest atmospheres I've ever felt in a sporting occasion.
One story in particular where we were all singing on this tram, you know, everybody's banging on the roof and everything. A great atmosphere, and the tram stopped and the driver got out of his cabin and we all thought, oh, we're going to be in trouble here. And he took out his phone and started taking a video, and he thought we better calm down. And he said, no, please make as much noise as you can. I want to take video to show my family. So
amazing, stupendous, joyful,
magnificent, historic, and Murray.
Team, belief, and ecstatic.
A pride of Britain.
Clinical, atmospheric, elation.
Passion, commitment, and amazing team spirit.
Epic, amazing, unbelievable.
Emotional, proud, and magic.
Hazy, incredible, teamwork.
Thrilling, tense, wild.
Stressful, spectacular, special.
How would I describe the Davis Cup final in 3 words? Unforgettable, emotional, and epic.